Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. Dead on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah, the statistics shows my ballistic flows generate big cake, not big candles. That spaghetti them O's. I'm so ready, how them pack my clothes. I'm so heavy with no D, how them boys. I rock them gators more than gun beat boys. I'm the real raw deal, y'all just still decoys. Like
So, and it comes transformed from fiction into realism, even though it is a work of fiction.
For that green like the brick, no, not from New Orleans, but can you see me, homie? In mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check. Check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Yeah, look around, left, right, up and down.
So in the time before everything starts, the second book kind of gets into the very beginning of it, and then the third book kind of ends up the first phase of what happened.
My target audience when I wrote it in my head was were basically teenage girls that had read Twilight and were sorry that it was over.
From this reason. And they are animals from being arsenic.
But you know, you're the bus driver, right? You know, yeah, there he is. You know, I was like, that's cool. It's like it was made for it.
Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't.
Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to another great show of APN TV. We have a lot in store for you today. Actually, because you know that I'm also a veteran, I have somebody that I would tip my hat off to, and his name is Bernard Jones, or shall I say Corporal Bernard Jones. And he has, yes. And he has written a book. The book is named Never Die. Colonel Bernard Jones' Experience of the Korean War. Did I say that right? Corporal Bernard. I said Bernard and Bernard. Oh, you know, it's this age kicking in. But anyway, let's see if we can get it right. The book title is Never Die. Colonel. I keep saying Colonel. My goodness, I'm just giving you all types of awards and credit, but you deserve it though, right? You deserve it. You deserve all of it. Corporal. Never Die. Corporal Bernard Jones' Experience of the Korean War. Right? Woo! Right. Awesome. I know he's gonna mess with me when we get up there. So anyway, he's got his family here. His lovely wife Nancy, and his loving daughter Clara, and his sister here is also as well, Lana. Yes, Lana. See, hey, we got it. And then the rest of the family, Jan. Oh, okay. Well, then we're going to do this. Actually, we have a double header. We'll do that. We have a double header. Okay. We have the first segment is the Jones family. In the second segment is the Martell family. But actually, one of a rising star is going to be coming up pretty soon. He wrote a sci-fi novel, SyFy Fantasy novel. And it's he's a Trekkie just like me, and he I think he sold me better than that. He's very thorough in it. When he goes, live long and prosper, which I'm trying to do my fingers. I think I do it this way; it's not easier. You too, live long and prosper. Excellent. And his name is David Talon. Yes, David Talon. He's got skills in the art of sci-fi fantasy. So anyway, without further ado, without further delay, we're going to go right into our PSA commercial and on to the set with the Jones family, with the book titled Never Die. But wait a minute. There's also one more thing. It's the 999th Artillery Battalion. I hope I said that right, but they're going to correct me when we get up here. Okay? So guess what? Let's enjoy ourselves, and we'll be right back after this. Yes, welcome back. Okay, to start off and get this party started, I want to bring out the daughter, who also, besides her mother Nancy, that inspired to get this book going. I want to bring out Clara. Yes. Here we go. And you know what? She's doing fine. Is it okay? No, I'll do it. Go ahead. Bring your family up. How about it? Can we do that? Okay, come on. Yes. Thank you, sir. Place you over. probably stand a chair. He can't. He can.
Yes, he'd be
Oh,
able to- I
excellent.
could, with help, we can get him up there.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. You know what? Actually, let's make it easier. Let's make it easier. See if we can get a side from all, from that area. I'll move this over. Bring it in comfortably. How's that? So that way he can sit here and you can sit there, so it's easier to help him. Got it? Wow. Yes. There you go, sir.
Oh, I know. Come on, we gotta stand. You gotta make this ledge, okay?
Yes.
You want him right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, sit down.
Corporal Bernard Jones, people.
Yeah, watch it. Got the verse on the track. Dead on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah.
Now, what's interesting is that, I didn't think about it that we'll all be up here. And actually, I wanted you to be seated to be more comfortable. Okay, I'm sorry about the air conditioning is going, but, it's the heat, because I'm sweating. I'm going, woo! Okay, but let's do this. I want to start off with this because one thing is definitely an honor for you being here, sir. It's definitely an honor. And Claire, I'm going to hit you with a question. And I need to know what made you decide to write the book?
Well, I bought a grandparents' journal that I wanted my parents to fill out for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, it was like pulling teeth trying to get him to fill it out. It was questions like, where'd you play as a kid? What'd your bedroom look like? All your typical stuff. And he's like, this is so boring. Why do you want to know this? Everything, is the same. And anyways, then when it came for the part of the book with his experience in the military, then he was all excited. Then he was really into it and was telling me everything. And it was really neat because I had never heard his side of the story. You know what I mean? He never really talked much about the Korean War. I knew he was in it, and that was about it. So this has given me an awesome opportunity to get my dad's side, to learn all about the war more personally,
Well,
So
you did a fantastic
exciting.
job.
Thank
It was interesting, looking at the book. As a matter of fact, you have the book here. Here, you can go and show it to everybody, show it to the audience. Yes. Yes. You know what? There's about the war. No, go ahead. Did I get that right, by the way? Never Die.
Yes.
Corporal Bernard. Corporal Bernard Jones, Experience of the Korean War.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and this is something because actually this is the first book, but it depicts a lot of great stories.
Yes.
Of what the Korean War was about through the eyes of Corporal Bernard.
Right.
I like that. I hope I said that right.
Yep, you did.
With all respect. Okay. And Lana.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm still so now I'm really sweating on this one. Okay. Lana. Were Bernard's parents in favor of him serving?
I need to go back to the beginning, and that would be with my mother and father, Dwayne and Clara Jones. Now, they married very young, and my father got my mother pregnant before he was sent off overseas. So my mother's there, pregnant. He's overseas, and she's concerned about him desperately, and she's very young. And anyways, he finally comes home with injuries from being injured over there, and he receives a Purple Heart.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
And so my mother is well familiar with what happens when you're in the service. It's not a pretty thing. And so, and then when World War II come along, my oldest brother, he had to serve in World War II.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so this was very stressful on my mother. And she did a lot of crying both times. And so when it came time for my brother Bernard to go to the Korean War, she was totally stressed. Totally stressed. She cried every day that he was gone. And it had a great effect on us younger children. I was only in the 3rd grade, and I remember it well. And before she'd let me go to school, she'd say, "Pray for Bernie." And I was very emotional about it, you know, stressed out. And when it come time for Christmas, she said, "We're not doing Christmas. There's nothing to be happy about.
Oh.
My brother is gone, and she's worried to death about him." And so my first thought as a young child was, she loves him more than us. And of course, that's not true. She loved all of us, all 9 of us. And so when he came back, we were overjoyed with it, and things started to go back to normal.
Ooh. I know there's a lot of strain on her.
Yes.
A lot of strain.
Yes.
But the one thing I'm glad you said that she did love, she still does, she loved all of you.
Yes, all 9 of us.
It was just a stress because the fact that Corporal Bernard went to the military and I mean back to back basically, and that would stress any parent.
Yep.
So I could see why, but he made a name for himself as well as made a name for all of us, you know, here in the U.S. Because he served his country, and that's a name that stands in its own. You know what? Something that was interesting, and I thought this was awesome, directly awesome. And you know, we're going to jump to this part right here.
Okay.
How did segregation play a part of the 99th Armored Field Artillery Battalion, in which Bernard was a part of, or should I say placed in?
Well, it's pretty neat because the 999 was an all-black, unit. It was all black, but President Truman wanted to start integrating the whites, and you know what I mean.
Yes.
They needed more bodies to be filled, so they put my dad into the 999. And a neat little tidbit is the Korean War was the last time segregation was an issue with the armed forces. So that the battalion was mainly black still, but
it's supposed to have been the blacks that it came in afterwards
Right.
to fill in slots.
Right.
And then, what's interesting is here it was mostly blacks,
Right.
Blacks in the battalion.
Yep.
In the 999th, and Corporal Bernard had came in. It was, that's awesome. Well, go ahead, continue on, because that is an honor in its own. It's a reverse.
Yeah.
It actually abolished segregation on its own, just a
Yeah.
concept.
Right.
It reversed. In other words, he was minority who was accepted and,
Right.
and performed his duties.
Right.
And that's definitely well respected. Nobody can't say anything about that.
Yeah, that was a neat tidbit that I learned about the
Yeah,
Korean
I've
War
learned
doing
something new.
that. Yeah.
A lot of people probably don't even know that, didn't realize it. That it went both ways in there. So, the segregation, actually it was abolished by the infantry, by the units,
Yeah.
technically. And how that went. So let me get off of that, because that is awesome. That is awesome. That's one reason I love the book, because the fact that he was a part of every bit or every piece of our being. A gentleman,
Yeah.
okay, a family man, a serviceman, and even now we're going to get to that because the fact, you know what, I got another question for you because I'm just going to go on. I'm getting all cheery-eyed here, okay? What was one of the most tragic events of the war mentioned in this book?
Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah.
Well, there was a friendly fire, and there's a letter in the book, written word for word to a man named Andy, and Bob wrote it, and he wrote it out in specific detail, and it's gory, it's heartbreaking, it's terrible, but that makes it more real because it's a real letter. You know what I mean? It's a
Yes, I was going to say that letter, that's just pure tragic.
Yeah.
I almost couldn't know how, I didn't even know how to handle it, seeing the letter in the book.
Right.
And it was like, but it's a real letter.
Yep, it's the real letter.
You know, something that you can share with everybody. Says, no, this is not no joke. Out here in the real world of a real war, okay, that's the real world itself. Right. We don't know what's going on over there, but when you look at the letter and you're seeing this and you're going, oh my gosh, is this really happening?
Yeah.
You know, and the deaths and,
yeah.
You know, I mean, I had to pause for a moment and say, whoa, back up, and then get back to reading again because this actually happened.
Right.
I mean, right then and there. So, you know what? Let's step off of that for a moment because it's sad. It's powerful. I'm glad that you did place it in the book. I'm glad you shared it because we actually see the realism.
Right.
I mean, you can't get no real net with a person's actual letter of what happened.
Right.
Okay. Nancy, how was the Korean War, how has the Korean War become a part of your life?
Oh, but we go to reunions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna help you out here. You know what? The time of knowing his, knowing what he has been through. Okay, how did you feel, knowing what he has been through?
Well, but things that he, told us and stuff. Some gets emotional and.
Well, were you pretty shocked?
We're so proud of We're so proud of him and.
He was a survivor
Mm-hmm.
in there, and let alone being in I think that it looks like a tank. What is that called?
Howitzer cannon.
The howitzer.
Yeah.
HOWITZER.
Yes.
Howitzer cannon. So you're a tank with you're inside of a tank with a big gigantic cannon. When you Nancy, when he told the story about that, how did you feel? How did you feel like?
It's something that doesn't seem real, because you see all these pictures on TV and that, and it's, to know that he, could drive one and do the different things that he did over there, and it was really.
Looking at that, I was wondering, how do you drive it? But I was like, oh my God. I mean, it's one big, huge cannon on top of a tank. You know the tank with the long, skinny cannon? This one was in the back then, in what year, 1951, 52?
Yeah, 50 to 53.
The cannons were like, they look like those, when you get a circus and you see them cannons that people shoot out of? Well, that's like those type of cannons almost the size of the tank itself. And he's sitting in there with this big old tank, and you drive it. Does he launch it out too as well?
It's not drivable, but it took a handful, 5 or 6 men just to load it.
Oh, you have to pull it.
Yeah, you don't get in it.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm really scared of this type of with tank treads on there.
Yeah.
How do you move it? How do you move a tank like that, or the howitzer?
Right.
How do you just push it, or something's pulling it, or
I think you drive it from the top. You know what I mean? That
steering it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I remember him saying, yeah, you couldn't get in it.
You know what? We got more to talk about, so I'll tell you what. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah, watch it. Got the rest of the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
You're not shallow at all. For hours we could sit and talk, yeah. I'm just about anything from A to Z. It's crazy how you relate to me. Oh girl, with you I can always be myself. It's something that I've never felt. What's not to love about you? Every day I find more reasons to. 'Cause you're in a beauty that's always shining through. What's not to love about you? I love how you don't walk around with the all about me attitude.
Now you're going to tell me about this tank.
It wasn't a tank that you get inside, like you see
Okay.
nowadays. The cannon was on top of, I guess you could say like a platform or whatever with
So
the
it's not a
treads.
tank.
It's a cannon.
It's a cannon with tank
Yeah,
treads.
yeah. It's
And you have to
move
pull
it.
something like that. I'm trying to figure out how just to comprehend the dynamics of the wheels.
Right.
And with the treads on it, when you're going up and down hills and stuff, it's hard enough for a tank to move around with
Right.
that. But I'm scared to throw this out there, but has a tread ever broke on it? He's laughing. Yes. I was going to say yes. Yes, sir.
It's just there. In there.
Wow. Okay. So I know it's been rough.
Yeah.
You have a lot of stories to tell.
Yeah.
Yes. That book could have been thicker.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, you've been to so it was Korea. You've been overseas twice, actually.
Mm-mm.
Wait a
Just
minute, going
once.
up just once?
Mm-hmm.
You went to You went from the military training. That's what I'm
Oh,
looking for.
yes, basic training.
Basic training. Where was that?
That was Fort Riley, Kansas.
Okay, Fort Riley, Kansas, and then from there to
Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, Washington.
He had to get on the ship.
Okay.
And then
The
to
ship.
Japan.
That's what I was trying to get at. Oh, so
Oh.
you did? Yes, you did. You've been to Japan.
Yes. He had to do training in Japan too
That's-
before going to Korea.
Outstanding.
Yeah. The Tokyo Ordnance
Training in
Depot.
Japan,
Yeah.
and then did war in Korea.
Yes.
I don't even. And in the military, I'm trying to comprehend how did they even structure that. You left the basic camp in Kansas, right?
Right. Yeah, he did that. Yep.
And then went for the training with the Hauser and everything in Japan.
Yes.
And then from Japan,
Yeah.
went to fight over in Korea.
Yeah.
Woo!
A long process.
Yes, a long process. But it was a terrible process to go on here. And, you know what? I do have another question for Nancy. Nancy, I know. I had to throw this out there. How were you involved with the construction of the World Wars Monument?
Oh, one day we were putting flags at the cemetery, and then we went to the monuments. We was going to put flags there, 2 on each monument, and then we noticed there wasn't one for the World War II. There was, you know, like all the other wars, and so we couldn't find one. So then Bernie told me, he says, well, why don't you write a letter to the editor and find out? So I did, and then I got a call from Gilbert Jackson, and he asked me if I was serious about it, and I says yes. And he says, well, let's form a committee and see if we can't get this going. And so that's what happened, and after a little over 2 years, we finally got the monument, the World Wars Monument, put up.
And the World War Monument is where?
It is on
North Coast.
Yes.
Here in Monroe, Michigan.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes, at
it's
Veterans
huge.
Park.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's huge.
Wow. Yes. Okay, I have one more question, but you know what? Actually, I'm going to, Clara, I'm going to ask you about I want the funny side of this in the Korean War.
It wasn't all. What's cool about the book is it's very personal, and it's not just like reading a history book. You see, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yes.
But one thing that was funny from the book is they pulled a prank on my dad. When he got to his unit where he needed to be. He was new, of course, and they sent him out to get a cannon report. So he's like, okay, so you know, he's going around, you know, different batteries or battalion, you know, units or whatever, I need one. They kept saying, oh, you gotta go, you know, this other place. So he's going all over the place. And then he's like, wait a minute, something ain't right. So by the time he got to the very last spot, he's like, hang on a second, is this a joke? And the man informed him that a cannon report is the noise that a cannon makes. They sent my poor dad all around looking for a noise. So yeah, that was kind of good. There's some good stories in there. He seen a ghost. And, yeah, there's a lot of funny stories in there. Make it real.
You know what? Actually, we definitely thank you for your service. Definitely thank you for your service. So, yeah. And with the DFW, we also like to thank everyone in the battalion of the 999 artillery.
Armored Field Artillery.
So I did say it. Okay.
Yeah.
Armored
Field Artillery Battalion. The 999th Armored Field Artillery Battalion.
So we give this dedication out to them through the airwaves as well. Thank you. Thank you. The book again is titled Never Die, Corporal Bernard Jones, Experience of the Korean War. We thank you, sir.
Yeah, watch it. Got the rest of the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamont. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, that was exciting. It's interesting, you know. It was hard at first because we have beyond dedicated, because he gave his life for America. He did it for the the fight in the Korean War, and also being able the courage to come up here, and he still not only just made it up, but he made it to be able to sit down. You know, he's also in the VFW, but I encourage you to check out his book, Never Die. So anyway. Now is the time that we're going to have. The book is called Chromium Birth. Chromium Birth. And it's say it right, it's SyFy Fantasy book, written by David Talon. So anyway, David Talon, come on up. Yeah. Okay, now I want you to come on, have a seat. Go have a seat.
Thank you.
Yes. And if you don't mind, because you know I'm going to bring somebody up, don't worry, I won't ask you, some off-the-wall questions. But it would be an honor if I can actually have your mother come up with a set too.
Okay.
All right. Let's bring up Mrs. Martell.
I know I promised you wouldn't be on set, but things just changed.
It's our. Yes. You know what?
Over here?
Yes. Go ahead.
Excuse me.
No, you're okay. That was pretty cool. You was keeping me on my to look. By instinct, I was going to sit on this side now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, Chromium Birth. Oh my goodness. David Talon and Mrs. Martell. Wow.
It's been a long road, but most of it's on the road right now.
You know what? SyFy Fantasy.
Yep. And it started out as mainly a fantasy idea, but I started bridging over between science fiction and just fantasy magical realms. And I really couldn't stay in just one. I had to be right in the middle where I have them both absorbed.
Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar Booth. Wow. Yeah.
Why should our kids eat healthy? That's a good question. What happens when they don't eat healthy? Well, eating unhealthy leads to an unhealthy life. What can it lead to, you may ask? It can lead to childhood obesity, which leads to diabetes, high blood pressure, and also heart problems. It also can lead to our kids taking medicines at an early age and also extended hospital stays. How can we bring awareness to our kids about childhood obesity? How can we bring awareness to our parents about childhood obesity? Bringing awareness to our kids and their families about childhood obesity helps the whole family. Everyone is healthy and everyone is happy. I think I might have the solution. Follow me and let's see.
What inspired Chromium Birth?
Well, let's go back to the very beginning. When I was 9 years old, my brother came home from work one day and he was branding these magazines. And they were all video game related. And I thought, oh, these are cool. But he's flipping through them and then he lands on these comics based off one of the games he plays and that we own together. And I'm just looking at him and I'm loving the art. I love the whole atmosphere of it. The characters really stuck out. And it's just, man, this is insane. And even up today, it's what originally inspired me to both write and draw.
Really?
I even based my art off of it because even though it's by a Japanese artist and writer of comic books, they're not anime style. They're more of, they're not anime. It's weird.
Wait a minute, the Japanese, their cartoons, their drawings is not anime?
Yeah, this particular one was not anime. Well, it is not anime.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I can understand that. How did you get the name Chromium Birth? How did that even arrive? That's a unique title.
I didn't actually start to think about the title until I was more into it and had a lot of ideas down. So I'm writing it and I'm experimenting with a lot of different ones. And I got this idea because I love what's called an oxymoron, a statement that contradicts itself. And so I wanted to create a title that would fit all those needs. And so I came up with Chromium Birth because a territory within the book is called Chromium, and that's where a main character is born and where the story starts out. But it also refers to the first book I'm actually writing, being one. And the whole oxymoron to it, Chromium Birth, chromium is a mineral, and minerals cannot produce life. They are not living, nor can life be produced from a mineral. And that's what came up with it. So it's a metaphor as well as a paradox, but it also describes the beginning of my talents here.
It is an oxymoron.
Yes, it is.
So
That's
you
why I
have
like
three
it.
different subjects within that one about creating the first book. Also because the birth within chromium, but chromium, that type of like chemistry, iron or something like that.
It's a mineral.
Mineral, yes. And because you can't produce life in it, but you created life within chromium.
Yes.
And it becomes Chromium Birth.
That's correct. It is.
Yeah. Or something to comprehend. Okay, how do you feel about your son? I see, I got you. How did you feel about your son writing a book?
Oh,
He was writing his first novel, I guess, or he's always written one, but he's never published it until now. So how do you feel about him writing?
I'm really excited about it. I had no idea that all this writing he's been doing since he was, what, 14?
14.
So 9 years he's been doing this writing, and that's when it all started. I saw him writing, he's writing all the time, and I had no idea this is what he had planned. So it was a surprise, all right. Yeah,
I'm not really sure why I kind of shut myself away from my family with my writing, but I guess it could be this little tick that I don't want them to judge me by it, because I am going in a direction that, from a side they don't know about me, because I just don't like to show my emotions before them. I do it with friends and other people, just not with my family.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So he's more closed off?
Very quiet.
Oh, okay. And then you're just, wow, when it comes to the writing and stuff that you do. I mean, you're sci-fi. That's you all day.
But that's also what I chose, because when I turned 12 years old, I decided I'm going to do something that's so different, people are going to think I'm adopted within my family. I want to be so independent. I don't want to count on anybody. I just don't want to be like anybody else there is. And I know I've achieved that goal now.
Excellent.
And by doing that, I'm afraid that people will judge me the wrong way, because I'm into animalistic stories with intense emotions, darkness, and a lot of drama, but that's just the way I am.
Wow.
And I'm afraid of how people will think of all the films I've made, and with writing and the style, and how I can turn people's expectations of childhood like upside down, which can really just, my gosh, I can't believe I'm reading something this scary. But I'm going to fight it because my favorite book freaked me the heck out, and I still love it. It was just absolutely grotesque.
Wow, that's a lot. That is, you know what? Actually, I'll tell you what. We'll be right back after this.
Yeah, watch it. Got the words on the track. That on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah.
Believe in love at first sight? Do you believe in meeting your soulmate on sight? How about Eskimo kisses in the midst of a blizzard? What about us having a future? Do you believe in love at first sight? Do you believe in meeting your soulmate on sight? How about Eskimo kisses in the midst of a blizzard? What about us having a future?
Welcome back. Okay. You know what? What story is Chromium Birth telling?
Well, originally it started out as 2 stories that I had that were only partially in development, and it was the only writer's block I ever had. I didn't know what to do with Chromium Birth at all because I tried so many alternatives and where to take it next, but it just wasn't working. But then a friend of mine who I've only known for the past 3.5 years, she said, you ought to take this idea you have and just publish it. And I say, I can't because it's not part of the same story because I already got this one going. But she kept motivating me, but then I had the idea, what if I could bring them together and solve each other's problem? And it worked. They were 2 incomplete stories that I brought together and they solved each other's block. So the first story starts out with Griffin, her name is Halise, and she discovers that she's pregnant for her first time.
This is the story's in the book?
Yes, this is the first one that I start out with.
Okay, go ahead.
It alternates between the 2. But anyway, after she has her son, the whole focus mainly transfers to him, and being he's so young, there are things going on in his region, Chromium, that he doesn't understand because he's just too immature. But then, across probably a couple miles in a more domestic side, there's a Vulpine. He's a little older. His name is Forja, and he's been living his life pretty much normally, but he doesn't realize that the adults in his life have been hiding the truth of what the world really is. And when he finally, at a good age, just like all the other kids, they start to tell him what's really going on here, that we've sheltered you all this time, and it's time that you know what is really going on out there. It's kind of a scary thing, but I go between the points of these 2 characters. They are the main protagonists of the story, but yet I decided I didn't want to do it from one point of view, but many, because that way I can tell the whole story in a broad sense. Because people have asked me where I get my characters' inspiration from, and to be honest, they're really not based off anyone. I just had the idea, I found the position, and then I had to act it out, character by character, from point of view, in order to get them all fleshed out. Wow. And I'm going to give you a little hint here. It is 2 stories, but they're within one book. They may seem totally unrelated, but all you got to do is read the book, and then you will understand.
So there's from like 2 points of views put into one.
Yes, you're right on there.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm giving because I want to keep it to
You're also working on another book behind Chromium Birth.
I am.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called Chimerical Escape. And this one originated out of 2 very unusual sources. The first source was from my 2 friends. We'd all made our own fictionalized characters, and we told each other that we wanted to all write our own versions with us in the story. And I played with this idea for a few years, and I wasn't getting anywhere. It took after month, and finally it was over a year, and I had nothing because every idea just seemed wrong. It didn't feel right. And then when I was working on Chromium, getting back into doing it and getting it finally ready to bring to you, I was weeding out of it because there were a lot of things that were just extra, and they were a free motif that had no purpose to the story at all. So I removed it to simplify it and make the story less complicated. But then I just love these ideas so much, I told myself, I can't get rid of these. They're genius, they're golden. And then I thought, wait a minute, I might be able to use these. And so with Chimerical Escape, I'm able to take the unused ideas of Chromium and the motivation of my friends and make a whole new story. It's totally different, but you'd probably never guess they were once the same. But that's how it worked.
Can you even tell the passion of the author? I mean, it makes sense, but it's insane. I'm like, oh my God! The names that you came up with, the names you came up with is that these are names that you created.
Yes.
So you created your own world.
Exactly.
Yeah, watch it. Got the verse on the track. that on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar Booth. Wow. Yeah.
because that was what I wanted to do. My purpose, well, here, let's go to the beginning. I went to a cinema here in our town and I came out from a movie and it's just like, you know what? I'm going to write something. I'm going to write a book, but I'm going to make it totally original. I'm going to make it so different that you cannot compare it to anything else you've ever seen. And I know I've achieved that. And that was the whole beginning of it. Every time it started to seem dull or predictable, I just threw out the idea, started over with something new, and went into a direction nobody would expect. Because years later, when Chromium Birth was pretty much ready, I learned about this formula called the hero's journey, which a lot of writers use. And I'd seen the hero's journey ever since childhood. I'd see the similar stories in movies, different characters, different title, but yet it was all the same. There was always a down moment, very bad, where you always thought this was the end, but then they bring you back up. And I'd seen that. And when I finally learned about the hero's journey and how it works, I realized this makes so much sense. But with Chromium Birth, I did not follow it. And therefore, I believe it's a very difficult book to predict.
I think you became a rebel. You did. You became a rebel in sci-fi. That's what you just created. You created a whole new level of sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy. You did something that's wow, wow. Especially with the Chromium Birth. That is something you intertwined in a way that it would not make sense, but technically, theoretically, it can make sense. You made some of the impossibilities can have an actual scientist think that what could be possible.
Yeah. It's a metaphor, but it's an oxymoron metaphor.
Yes, an oxymoron metaphor. Wow. Excellent. Chromium Birth by David Talon. You know anything to share about your son? You know, you see, his passion in science fiction. I'm surprised he's not out here creating some new high-tech type of rocket ships or, he's just...
He's his own man. He always has been, and I'm very proud of him. He's got a very bright mind.
So it's definitely unmatched. You're awesome in your work. You're very creative and dedicated.
And I wasn't trying to be the best. I was just trying to be the most unusual.
See what I mean? Incredible. Chromium Birth is here. That's your baby. It's beyond measure. It's beyond measure. But I encourage those who actually read the books because that sci-fi novel will get you thinking.
Well, better. It took almost 10 years to write.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
No, it only took 5 years to write. The rest was planning and editing.
Right.
Wow. Well, you did a great job, and definitely thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Man, that's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah, watch it. Got the riffs on the track. Dead on the boards. Church. Bishop Lamar. Wow. Yeah, the statistics shows my ballistic flows generate big cake, not big candles. That spaghetti them O's. I'm so ready, how to pack my clothes. I'm so heavy with no D. How them boys, I rock them gators more than Dundee boys. I'm the real raw deal, y'all just steal decoys like them duck hunters, runners, blowing whistles, making noise. It's official, tell them nizzles, I'm the dizzle, flow sizzle, folk shizzle. I'm off the hizzy, busy signal. I got that hustle muscle for that green like the for brick. No, not from New Orleans, but can you see me, homie? Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Look around, left, right, up and down. Ain't nobody like me. Wrist so icy, colors like iced tea. Them diamonds get pricey. Got rich now, everybody so nice to me. I'm a whiz kid, Doogie Howser. Just like the game, snatch your dame, I'm Bowser. Spit hot flames, stay sagging in my trousers. Even on church day, the preacher like no way. And Miss Jenkins like, Lord, take them demons away. In my headphones, Jesus walks by Kanye. Macking to a chickie, trying to get some kissy kissy. You can nibble on my neck, but no hickey. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Mic check, check 1, 2. If it ain't a check a text, that's all I'm gon' do. Mic check, check 1, 2. If you ain't talking dollars, I can't understand you. Baby, I'm the bomb diggy. Girls be begging for another chance like I'm Biggie. I run the city, call me P. Diddy. My life's Whoopi Goldberg, it ain't nothing pretty. It's been a long time coming, this ain't happened quickly. Overnight, try more like over and over until the morning light. Steady trying to get it right.